My show is called Traces of a Social Movement, The Baltic Way, and it explores the 25th anniversary of a social movement that happened in the Baltic countries. In 1989, 2 million people held hands between the capitals of Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, which is 630 kilometers long, and 2 million people is 25% of the population, came out and stood in that line holding hands together. They were sort of jammed, it was so many people. And they were protesting the agreement between the Soviets and the Germans to split Europe into spheres of influence, and this happened before World War II. At the end of World War II, the Soviets occupied the Baltics again. They had occupied them at the beginning, then Germany came in, then the Soviets came in, and they occupied them for it was almost 50 years by 1989. This was to celebrate and protest this piece of action that the Soviets had done, and the fact that they had been occupied illegally for 50 years. And it takes a lot of courage to go out and stand in a line when you know that the KGB is watching you, and that your grandparents and maybe even your parents have been sent to Siberia if they protested or did anything wrong. Because about anywhere from 25 to 30% of the population had been sent to Siberia at some time during that 50-year period. I plan to put them up in a grid so that they're many, many, many people together. It's not about one individual. Because Americans like to think like in our freedom movements or whatever, there are singular people. You know, like if you think of the Civil Rights Movement, you think of Martin Luther King Jr., right? Okay, so when I think of the Baltic Way, I don't think of an individual, I think of 2 million people. Just average, ordinary people. And so I wanted to show that visually by putting all of them together. One of my favorite photos is there's a Freedom Monument in the middle of Riga, the capital of Latvia, and I stood back far enough that I could get the walk-through McDonald's, because it's in an old part of the city where you can't have a drive-through, so they have a walk-through McDonald's. And so I call it my 2 freedom monuments, sort of this idea of freedom from the Soviets, but also this incursion of capitalism. So it's both positive and negative at the same time. And that's just one example of what I saw, because they went through the countryside, they went through the little farming areas, they went through the center of these big cities, and so that's what all the photographs are. It'll go up here. It's already premiered in Latvia at the European Union House, and it appeared in Lithuania at LCC International University. Has been up in Chicago at the Lithuanian Museum for Culture, and now EMU. So that's basically what we're doing.